Okay guys, so in this video I wanted to talk about the importance of escapism, the reason I made this video is because I think a lot of people in these communities are very hard on themselves because, or they allow the pressures of society to really, how should I say, build up inside of their minds and to make them depressed or to make them feel like, but make them feel bad for something that they didn't even choose to be in. But regardless, or for playing a game that, or trying to win a game that they just can't win, or maybe it's not meant for them to win or even play in the first place. But whatever, enough of that. So I wanted to address this issue here today because I feel like this is arguably one of the most important aspects of life, and people are going to be like, well, this is not really, but the average person, the normie, if you will, is going to be like, oh, that's just not true. This is something you do in your free time, and I agree. But I think, especially if you listen to my channel, then you should be able to understand that, quite frankly, escapism is truly the most important area of your life, if you know what I mean. So there are responsibilities and things you need to get done day by day, whether it be family or work or school, or I could just go on and on. But I would argue that the part of your life where you can truly be you is going to be in your escapism. Because quite frankly, this world, is just doesn't allow us to be ourselves. Because there's just so many things that we have to get done all the time that we may not like to or want to get done or whatever, but we need to get done. But the times where we can really be ourselves, where we can really get away from the pressures of society and life, is going to be an escapism. And so I would argue that, far from neglecting escapism or just viewing it as something that you do, uh, after like a brutal work day or long day at school, or after getting all your responsibilities done for the week or whatever, view it as an active part of your life. Like, you need to think like this: whatever it is that you enjoy doing, it's kind of what keeps you going, isn't it? And so I think when you really think about these kinds of things, right, you you really think about just the difficulty of life, for you and for people around you. I mean, because we all go through it. I mean, regardless of how quote unquote privileged you are, you can still relate to this. It Just looking at the difficulty of life, you do need a very serious source of escapism if you are going to make it out mentally intact in a way. I'm not saying that you can win this game of life, but you guys know what I'm trying to say, right? So if you do want to live a life where it's somewhat bearable, you need to have this. Now, how do you have this? It may be something as simple as, like, just simple social media. We have a very interesting, dynamic social life or online life, whatever it is. I wouldn't recommend that as a long-term strategy, but maybe for some people that's what they go for. Maybe other people, maybe they do art to cope with it. Maybe they go into philosophy. Maybe they read fiction. Maybe they watch movies. Maybe they play games for most of their free time, and they immerse themselves in gaming. Maybe they immerse themselves in some kind of fantasy, whatever it is. That right there needs to take up the majority of your free time, and you need to use that as a distraction, to get your ass up out of this matrix, to get your ass away from this reality. Because if you don't, this world and your mind is going to fuck with you, to a very severe point, and you don't want that. Okay, so, and another thing as well is that free time is getting less and less real. If you catch my drift, there's less and less free time as the economy gets harder, as life gets more expensive. Um, there is going to be a lot less free time because people have to prioritize work. You may have to prioritize work if you can even find work in this damn economy. But yeah, I mean, I'll just argue escapism is very, very important. I would argue, actually, from my personal point of view, I would argue I feel most alive when I'm engaging in escapism mechanisms. And that sounds kind of strange, right? Especially for the average person. But let me tell you something, right? For me, like, this world just feels like it just feels like a long chore that I'm forced to be in, right? I'm pretty sure a lot of you guys that will listen to my channel can relate. If you can't, that's fine. Everyone has their own views, but to me, I think that's just how this life is. It's just a massive chore, right? And I don't really see this chore as being something that I thoroughly enjoy or gives me a sense of meaning, if you catch my drift. So escapism gives me pleasure, meaning, fulfillment, um, allows me to express my creativity and my true desires, right? You guys have seen my art forms. You guys have, I mean, there's a lot of other things I do in my spare time. I hope you guys are doing these things as well. But I've noticed a lot of times society likes to make you feel guilty just for existing, which is problematic. You just not even just existing, but just enjoying yourself. It's like literally all the society wants. If you notice this, right, if you really look carefully, if you look at people and society more broadly, which is why I would isolating yourself from society somewhat. Um, but if you have studied society, what you will notice is that the only time that they really care about you is when you're talking about kind of social expectations. Maybe, I don't know, like for instance, when you talk about, I don't know, marriage, having kids, oh, their eyes light up. When they talk about your job, when you talk about school, their eyes light up, and they're very interested then. But when you start talking about other things, they don't care, right? They may act like they're caring, but they're just faking it, right? So yeah, I mean, most of society is fake, as we know. But yeah, like for you, the individual, escapism is mandatory. If you want to enjoy your life, if you want to really make use of the small amount of time that you have here, you need to have some kind of escapism mechanism. Obviously, not to the point to where it becomes an addiction. For some people, that may be a reality, but it's not ideal, if you catch my drift. So yeah, because there's too much suffering, there's too much nonsense in this life for you to not enjoy it and just go insane dealing with all this shit. So yeah, I'll leave it there.